You're listening to the Screaming Pods Network.
The harrowing tale of how a straight, affluent, white American male got accepted into an institute of higher education. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch How I Got Into College.
Welcome, everyone. Here we are at another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. It is here that we come, we convene to discuss great or not so great movies specifically from the 1980s. I am one of your hosts. I am Jamie Lorello, the other host that is here with us all the time, every time we do this. Whether you like it or not, is a DP Douglas McCambridge.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, I think we've been here every time, right? None of us. We've never recorded
it's
an
not
episode
like we call in sick. No,
well, I don't know. Some shows do that. Like if they have multiple hosts, it's just kind of like, oh, this person's...
We make arrangements. We make, hey, you're too under the weather. We'll change up the date. You got a plan with your kids, maybe? You got something you got to do for work? Hey, we'll mix it up. We're always a pair.
If people listen to this and have listened to this, they may think it's some by the seat of our pants production, because I'm sure that's what it sounds like. But we plan.
We do.
If people want to stick around near the end of this episode, I'm going to tease some season 4 movies, because that is how prepared we are.
That's how prepared.
I have a list of movies written down that will take us until May 2019.
Can you believe that? The problem is it's on an Excel doc, and you can't open that shit.
No. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I don't even know how I created it. Just in some weird fever dream, and then I saved it as an Excel. Right? You can do that. You can just save things as Excel documents.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Yes. And it's there. And that will take us in 2019. We'll be in year 4. Because this is 3 years.
4. The 3 years.
That's kind of magical.
It's pretty crazy.
And I feel like it's like a hamster wheel that you're just going to keep running on, because there's no shortage of 80s movies. I had never heard of this one, for instance. Here we are talking about it.
Here we are. But before we talk about it, Jamie, let's front load this with a few things, because it is our 3rd year, and during our 3rd year, we didn't have a few things. When we started our 3rd year, we didn't have a website. We do now.
We do. It's pretty snazzy. It's efficient.
It's efficient. What I tell people is, I say, listen, if you listen to our show on iTunes, you don't need the website.
No.
But if you know someone who is, and I know people like this, for whatever reason, morally opposed to iTunes, there are people out there that, I get it. They want nothing to do with Apple and that empire.
They say go away. Mm-hmm.
But if you know someone like that, tell them to go to the website. They can listen to this
They're
on
available.
The website.
And they're all there. They're just all laid out for
right.
you. You can just randomly pick one. You can scroll your screen up and down, and then say stop, and then pick one. And that's the one you listen to.
And yell, no whammy, as you do it.
Did you ever meet a whammy? Isn't that what the Whammies used to sing? That's one of the songs. Okay. They used to sing songs and do little routines.
Is that Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
But sung by a whammy.
No, I understand that. So that's our website, and it's just the name of the show, goodtimesgreatmovies.com. We also are part of the Screaming Pods Network, and we weren't at the start of our 3rd year.
No, and that's great.
They're a wonderful network. They put together these little promos that they put up on social media for us, where they pull excerpts from our show.
Yeah, little snidbits.
Little snidbits.
So creative.
One time you said that word and I thought you made it up, and I looked it up, and it's kind of a real word. I think it was in like Urban Dictionary, which is close enough to a real word for me.
Yeah.
But I literally just thought you made that up. Like you wanted to say tidbits and snippets, and you just weren't able to.
You just don't know what's going to come out of this mouth sometimes. It could be titular. You don't know.
It could be. You could be saying, "How did I get into college?" That's not actually the title of the movie. So the other thing is, we talk about this at the end of the show, but sometimes I don't think people stick around till the end. We have a Patreon page, Jamie, and we are frantically trying to come up with new episodes or think about what we're going to do for these new bonus episodes.
Just for the Patreon.
Right, exactly. If you like what we do and you think we're worth any bit of money, go to our Patreon page.
Support us with financial. But not only are you going to financially support us and show that, but we're going to give back to you, you know? I mean, it's not just a one-way street here. It goes, you know, you give, we give right back.
That's right.
And don't you get an unedited version of these amazing episodes?
Right.
So you get to hear, like, my dogs barking and Doug, like, farting and burping and sneezing and making all his random noises that he will normally edit out.
98% of people won't understand the Excel joke, but there is a small snippet of the audience that understands the Excel joke.
They're chuckling about it. They're chuckling because now they're in the inside track.
It wasn't worth it. I cut that out. It was not worth it. But some people will be able to hear that.
It's a privilege. Denied by some.
Yeah.
Because they don't Patreon.
Patreon. Patreon? They don't Patreon? Is that a verb?
Sure. I'm not sure.
Go out and Patreon us. Just go to patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies and see what's there. You can even go and see what's there before you decide to pledge any bit of money.
Can like dabble in it a bit before you
play around. Yeah. See if you're interested. But if you like what we do, we just do more of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, we could use the money. Jamie breaks mics right and left.
I do.
Like,
it's so true.
All the money goes into the show. We had to buy this movie. We had to.
Yeah, this DVD I now possess it.
Yes, and I don't mean, but that's what I mean. Like, we had to physically purchase it. Like, we rent movies. Like, I had to pay $4 to watch Hot to Trot on Amazon.
Best $4 you've spent this year? I don't think so.
But now,
Matt and Gwen is very good.
But because this movie was so difficult to find, and I still don't understand why. We actually own copies.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. You do.
It's full screen and widescreen, Jamie. So I don't know which version you watched.
I watched the one that came up on my laptop when I pressed play.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So normally at the end of our year wrap-ups, we talk about some of the movies we watched from last year. I think in the past we've done something where we talked about the best three and the worst three, and I figured let's not do that. Like saying the worst three, you know, the worst three sounds like the shows weren't good. But sometimes those terrible movies are our best episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
So is there anything that you want to just sort of direct people to? Anything you want to comment
are we taking that at the top? I thought we were going at the end with that,
top.
But that's fine.
Let's take it at the top. Let's make people wait for our comments on how I got into college.
All right. I like it. Kind of drawing it out a bit. Yeah, I thought about, I didn't do best and worst, but I did have, like you said, kind of draw-tos.
Draw-tos? Like you're playing Uno?
Yeah. Then I'll put down a reverse, back to me.
Back to me.
Then I'm gonna...
I drew two more. Yes, I'm playing Uno the right way, right?
What's the other card? Oh, it's the skip card. You know what? Skip me. Your turn. What are your go-tos?
Oh, great. I thought you were going to do this first. And I was going to be able to talk about ones that you just didn't comment on.
Oh.
I really enjoy it when we can discover a movie that neither of us had seen that we really enjoy. And I'm going to go way back to Class of 1984, which was a crazy movie. And I think that was the first movie we did. I think we did that last May or last June.
Yeah.
And it was just a super fun, crazy dumb movie. I loved not as much as you did, but thinking back on Zorro the Gay Blade,
I had Zorro the Gay Blade was totally in my list. It was like number one.
I'm
Zorro
so
the Gay
happy
Blade.
we did that.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't even know it existed.
And then there are movies that just are really disappointing, like
Witches of Eastwick.
The Witches of Eastwick should not have been that bad.
No.
But it was one of the worst things
I didn't love it.
we ever saw.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think the worst movie we saw, and I think it used to be either Red Sonja or Tron, but I think when we watched Demi Moore in Parasite.
That Parasite movie. Yeah.
That was
rough.
Awful. That was awful.
Rough.
We got a correction, or not a correction, but just a little bit of information from a listener about our Flashdance episode.
Ooh.
Do you remember in Flashdance, there's the part where the cop is directing traffic and kind of dancing? And
yes. And she dances along, sure.
We were told by a listener that cop was a real person in Pittsburgh, and he used to dance direct traffic. Like, he was a real thing.
So it was like a cameo that he did.
Exactly.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
fabulous. I wish we would have known that when we did it, but now... makes it all that much more special, doesn't it?
Oh, and I'm so happy that we watched Working Girl. That's the other one that I I absolutely thought it was fantastic.
Working Girl was a fun one. Yeah, that was a really good one too. Mm-hmm. I was glad for two ones that I remember being a Funhouse and Waxwork. Both movies.
You're insane. You're crazy. Because I know, again, we're going to get to October and you'll be like, oh, no, now we're in October. And it'll be your favorite month of the year.
You know what? It's discovery every year for me that I'm into these horror movies. But I'd never seen them, and they were, and one that I kept thinking about recently, and not necessarily for this list, but it kept coming up in my mind, and maybe because I'm thinking a lot about mustaches and Tom Selleck, but that Runaway movie. For some reason, it's I keep having I remembered the scene when they were at the one restaurant outside and they were shooting at each other. I remembered that. And I remembered the robot.
He just shoots Kirstie
Alley
in the head. And I think he stabs her, right, with a knife and then throws her in a fountain.
Very violent.
And everybody else is just sitting there eating. That was great.
It's casual violence. Very casual violence. But I think we both saw the movie, but my favorite recording that we did this past year was obviously our on-location, in-person recording we did of Harry and the Hendersons.
My favorite thing is how you started that with, I think we both saw the movie.
No, I mean before we watched.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yes, I was in an airport terminal watching it.
Yeah, I was on an airplane.
Mm-hmm. I was like, Carla, I can't talk to you. I have to sit here and watch this movie. I'm sorry. Go talk to that crazy man standing alone by the payphone.
And I was all crying because Lithgow and his Bigfoot monster friend. It's so sad. Their friendship is so beautiful.
Oh, my God.
But it's been a good year, basically, I guess is what we want to try to say. It's been a good year of some great movies. And either you want to go back and listen to them again, or you want to watch the movie again. Either the episode or the movie.
Go back and listen to them again. Do you need to watch Mystic Pizza again? No. Probably never again in your life.
I might.
All right.
I might watch it when it comes on TV.
I mean, I'm talking to the listeners now.
Okay.
I know you will. Oh, and also, one last thing that I do want to say is on our Patreon page, we have a donation level where you can tell us a movie to watch, and we will have to watch that movie and have to discuss that movie.
And we did have to do that this time with
Cobra?
Midnight Mad. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cobra and Midnight Madness. Mm-hmm. And also Michelle, who made us watch, who gifted us Midnight Madness, was also a big fan and very excited that we are now talking about how I got into college.
Oh,
and that's a perfect segue.
Well done.
Flawless.
See? Sometimes these things are planned, not off the cuff.
This movie is directed by Savage Steve Holland. One of the goofiest names for a director, and then McG showed up. But Savage Steve Holland directed, and I could be wrong, I looked at the IMDb very briefly. He directed 2 movies that I've heard of, but I think, including How I Got Into College, he only directed 3 feature films.
Oh.
He directed Better Off Dead.
Oh.
He followed that up with One Crazy Summer.
Oh.
And
Fun
then
times.
How I Got Into College, and that was it. Now, not for his career, because he has had a steady career of directing like Nickelodeon TV shows, like live action, teen shows, stuff that kids watch, things like that.
I could see that.
Oh, I can see that 100%. I'm just amazed that it was sort of 3 and out with this guy.
This might have been the one that broke him, though.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because if you think about Better Off Dead, and you think about One Crazy Summer, a movie I don't really like a whole lot, this is so... you can see shades of those movies in this, but they're so brief.
Do you think he would have wished that Cusack played the lead role in this movie?
Oh, no doubt.
Because I had a hard time with this. I mean, we'll get through it and we'll talk more about the details of our feelings about this movie. But I had a hard time with that lead actor. What's his name? Corey. I'm looking at the box right now. Corey Parker.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide if he was supposed to be just really sweet and geeky or maybe a little bit challenged sometimes.
Okay. I didn't read that into it. But he just seemed, I mean, there was nothing there. There's nothing there. Yeah. And he's, again, he's a working actor, but he's more of a television actor as well. He didn't make it in feature films, and he was in 30-something, and he just does TV guest appearances for the most part. Yeah.
Solid.
He was not charismatic. He was not interesting. Yeah, if you had John Cusack in this... Yeah, better movie.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with Anthony Edwards.
No, he was fun.
I thought Lara Flynn Boyle was okay as well.
Yeah, she did a fine job. I agree.
She's so young and her forehead is so freckly. There's freckles on her forehead. I was like, did she have those surgically removed at some point? Or was that just sort of a... late teen, early 20s thing that she had going there.
Freckle freak out, if you will.
Yeah.
Forehead freckle freak out.
All right. Let's just get into it.
What are you doing? Just do it.
It's not a difficult movie to really discuss.
No, I wouldn't think it is.
But there are these... Every now and then we get these fantasy moments, which again...
Oh, yeah, the little...
feel a lot like...
Better Off Dead.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime I say just say Better Off Dead, because that's the movie I'm trying to think of. So it starts out with this, and we see these two figures. One is wearing a letter A, and one's wearing a letter B.
They're racing.
Mm-hmm. And letter A is smoking for some reason and sort of trash-talking letter B. I don't quite understand the dynamic between A and B. That never really comes up again. But it's all because our main character is taking
the SATs.
It is the SATs, right? It's the practice test he takes later.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So he's taking the SATs, and I loved watching this because it reminded me of in high school. I remember taking tests. I don't know if it was the SATs. I guess it was, where they had those 4-way dividers.
Yeah, did you remember those dividers?
Yes, I did.
They were goofy as all hell when I saw them.
Yeah, because in our lunchroom we had round lunch tables, and that's where we took the SATs.
Oh,
no, never mind. It wasn't the SATs because I had to go to a different school to do that. It was, whatever, some goofy test. But yeah, they would put these dividers in, so you would sit at a table, but you weren't able to see anybody else's test.
But you couldn't cheat.
Yeah.
Although some of these people are cheating. You got some people looking over at other people's, right? When they're showing the test taken.
Yeah.
There's a kid sleeping. There's a girl crying.
Oh, that poor girl that's crying. I felt so bad for her.
She's very emotional.
She got rejected from, I think they said 7 schools at the end of this movie.
She was not, but I couldn't tell if she was emotional. I guess she's just an emotional test taker. And then was emotional.
I don't know.
Maybe she should quit the smoking because she later is having a cigarette and she almost smokes a French fry. She's so nervous.
Jamie, for the first 20 minutes of this movie, I thought it took place in the 1960s. I looked at what they were wearing and stuff, and I was like, are there vintage cars? What are they? When they're in the diner, there's a guy in a sweater that you would see in Greece with a big letter on it, and he's dancing.
Like, yeah, did you notice the guy in the background that's like dancing? Weirdest. He's like dance. He goes from table to table, and
he's like dancing in front of the football team, like for their amusement.
And they're watching, but then he leaves and goes to another table and keeps dancing. Yeah, that's when he's talking to his little beatnik best friend there, right?
Yeah, his best friend who just...
Another equally, like, lame character. Well, lame actor, I guess.
There are certain things that this movie should have done, in my opinion. I think this movie plays really well to children. There's nothing terribly offensive in it.
No, I
like,
agree.
his best friend should be an all-out stoner, right? Like, that guy should be a total stoner.
That's what we're... Right.
Mm-hmm. There should be much more sex talk and stuff like that, which all of that sort of skirted around in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's very tame and it's very safe, and I'm still not sure why it's rated PG-13.
Oh, is the 13... They don't drop any.
Nope.
No, I'm trying to think. They don't drop any F-bombs or any kind of... Oh, well, Anthony Edwards has some sexual relations, I guess, with that one girl, but they don't even show anything.
No, they don't show anything. All right. Well, we can talk about why it's PG-13 later. So, this is his fantasy. Our main character, when he takes tests and you have to fill out the little dots on the Scantron and all that stuff, like, he can't make up his mind between A and B. So these characters are arguing in his head, and he's arguing with them out loud while he's taking the test.
Yeah.
He runs out of time. He does a terrible job. You can tell that.
He doesn't even finish the test,
No, he doesn't even finish it. I do enjoy it when he gives the test to the proctor. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sure you did fine." And she looks down and cringes, like verbally gasps just by looking at the dots that he made.
Well, because he only gets to question number 14. He doesn't get very far at all because he's got these little vignettes going on in his head in between all of them.
And also,
right?
I think it's important to say that, like, I think on screen when it starts, we're taking this test. And it says, spring semester sophomore year.
Oh, yeah, we jump.
He hands in the test and suddenly fall semester senior year. And I was so worried that we were just going to be jumping around in
that
this movie.
Quickly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we settle in after a minute, but we do jump. We do jump from the test taking in the sophomore year. All of a sudden now we're in senior year. And Lara Flynn Boyle's character... what is her name?
Jessica.
She is obviously a popular girl, and she is running for class president. I don't think anyone's really running against her.
I don't know.
Or at least we don't see who is.
Yeah. It's not, the movie's not election. That's not really. But yeah, I guess she must be super smart and super pretty. I think she, like, titles her essay, like, Confessions of a Prom Queen, which I'm like, prom hasn't even happened yet.
No.
You're prom queen? Anyway, so they're at this, like, I don't know, it looks like the Peach Pit in 90210. That's, again, where I was like, is this the 50s?
No, it's at Johnny Rockets.
Oh, it's terrible. They're drinking these giant milkshakes, and she and her two friends, and all three of them, when they talk later in the movie... I didn't look at the screen because I wanted to test this. I could not tell their voices apart.
Their voices apart?
I couldn't tell who was talking when with these three girls. Her one friend is Smokey, the girl who smokes a lot and is really...
cryy. She cries every time she takes a test.
Cries a lot. The other friend doesn't really have any personality.
No, she's just like the tall blonde friend.
Yes, and as we said, our main character, what's that dude's name? Marlon.
Marlon. Mm-hmm.
He has a friend who's like a stoner, skater, surfer, but none of these. I'm just putting this upon him.
No, he's really just he's just really got long hair, and he doesn't want to go to college. He wants to experience real life. He kind of quotes poetry here and there, and talks about living like off the land and hitchhiking around. Now, are they?
Yeah.
First of all, is Ramsey a real college? I know Michigan State is. Is Ramsey a real college in Pennsylvania?
I don't think so.
Because where are they?
I'm willing to say no.
Okay.
Well, I have no idea where they are. I thought they were in California.
That's what I thought. But then they go to Michigan, and then Ramsey is in Pennsylvania, they say. So, Yeah.
I mean, when they're driving, sometimes it looks like they're driving on a shoreline. So I thought they were in California, but maybe it's
I thought too.
East Coast. Maybe they're in.
And they say something about. She says, "I want to get into East Coast schools." The Smoky friend says that. But anyway, I guess maybe it doesn't matter. They're just somewhere, and they want to get into college.
They're within driving distance of wherever this fictitious Ramsey College is in Pennsylvania.
Which is in Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yes. So, like, they're all freaking out about getting into college. And this is, I think, where this movie lost me.
Because you didn't freak out?
Right. Could you relate to this movie at all?
I was trying to remember that feeling of, like, applying for college. I think a college experience kind of blurred the way into how I got into college, titular, if you will.
Okay.
I mean, I think I
like, do you remember being stressed? Do you remember waiting for letters? Do you remember?
I remember waiting for letters. I didn't apply to that many schools. I remember waiting for letters. I don't remember it being that stressful, but maybe because I'm an adult now and I've had many other stressful things happen to me that pales in comparison.
No,
I don't
fair.
remember it being quite like this, though. Like, it didn't bring upon any, like, oh yeah, I remember, like, waiting by the mailbox, but I suppose I did.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
all right.
Did you? Obviously didn't. And I think I remember, like, SATs, it was just like, I want to pass, and I did. So that's all I needed.
Pass the SAT.
Or, like, not pass, but, like, I wanted to get a good enough grade that I didn't need to take it again, I guess.
Okay, I did. I took it twice.
Okay.
I did not. I don't remember what I got the first time or the second time. I don't remember. But I remember. And I found out, I learned through this movie that I was a, what do they call it? Suicide.
An idiot? No.
No. I suicided?
You suicided the SATs?
You apply to one college.
Oh.
I
you really? Well, no wonder you didn't have any worry about it.
But I should have been worried. Like, doesn't that mean I should have been more worried? Like, if I'm
saying no wonder you had no stress. You weren't waiting to hear from 5 different schools to see which one was going to accept you. You were just like, here's where I'm going. And if you don't accept me, well, I guess I'm working at the Peddler's Village for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember worrying about it. I don't remember thinking about it. I just remember I wasn't even home. I didn't even open. I was like these kids. Like, I remember calling my parents.
Yeah, like how they were calling from the payphone.
I called my parents from my friend's house, or they called me at his house. And I just had them open the envelope and tell me
if you got in.
Yeah.
Did you remember if there was an essay or anything? See, I don't remember. Maybe I did.
I remember writing an essay and then showing it to my guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor going, "Are you sure this is the essay you want to send?"
Oh,
that was what my guidance counselor said, and I said, "Yeah."
Was it entitled "Confessions of a Prom Queen"?
Uh-huh.
And that's why he was like, "Maybe don't send this one."
I wish I had seen this
I wish you had a copy of this.
I wrote an essay. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what I wrote about. But it was apparently good enough for me to get into a state school.
I guess then you did it. Here I come, KUNU.
So, Lara Flynn Boyle, like we said, she's running for class president. This goofball is totally in love with her. He's head over heels in love with her. But
it's an awkward
really
in love.
Spoken to her.
Because that's just it. He just has a big, huge crush on her.
All you have to do in a movie like this, not necessarily to excuse it, but his friend needs to say something like, "Come on, I know you guys were best friends in elementary school, but that was forever ago." Right. Fine. Okay. Then when they get together at the end, it's like, all right, well, they've rediscovered each other. That's okay. But everything about this just seems weird and creepy. And the fact that he goes to the guidance counselor and says he wants to go to college wherever she's going.
Yeah.
Even
the guidance counselor's like, you should just leave. You're not.
Everyone
Goodbye.
says this too. I mean, even Anthony Edwards.
Kip.
Yeah, Kip. Kip's like, you don't want to go to school.
You don't want to chase a girl to school, yeah.
You don't want to chase a girl who's never talked to you before.
Yeah, it's a bad decision. It's a silly decision to make. And for that to be kind of the basis of how he got or why he decided to go to college, he really has no interest in it. It's not like he's got some other...
He doesn't seem to have any interest in academics. I don't know what he's going to Ramsey to study.
I don't know that he knows. Maybe psychology, because he's got all this mind stuff he plays.
And I think it's also important to say that Ramsey appears to be a pretty prestigious institution.
Well, yeah, but how's that one admissions guy working there? What's the one? Flaky? Flacco? What?
Oh, the guy with the pigs all over? Is that what we're talking about? Jesus. Okay, because this is where this movie takes some drastic turns away from the movie that I thought it was several times. And this is the first, because instantly, after he's kicked out of the guidance counselor's office, we are in Ramsey. We're at this college.
We're meeting the admissions team, right?
And this is where... we meet our other main character, protagonist. Yeah. I mean, Anthony Edwards is top billed in this.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just... I mean, it's on our DVD, but I don't know if that was just because of, ER. That they put his name first.
Yeah, I don't know how Anthony Edwards gets... Well, because he does a good job in it. Probably that's why. And he is the other kind... because he does a good job in it.
Sorry, Corey. Anthony Edwards did a better job than him in this movie, so we're actually going to change it where he is top billed.
Can't say I blame him.
No, not at all. In this Ramsey... So, I don't know. Half this movie we are dealing with the staff of this school...
Yes.
The recruitment officers of this school. We do find that, let's go through the recruitment officers. There is Anthony Edwards.
Kip.
There is his girlfriend, blonde lady.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
There's the snobby, evil bad guy.
Yeah, who only likes to accept rich kids to the school who have, or smart.
Rich kids or smart kids, which I think... I'm not saying he shouldn't be the villain of this, but the idea of accepting smart students makes sense to me.
For a college, you would think. Who's the secretary? I think she's got the red hair that helps them do the presentation.
My favorite character in this movie, the secretary, who I think talks to her dog on the phone at one point in this movie.
She's very bizarre.
I don't know who this is.
What is she doing when she does... Sally is her name.
Yeah.
So they're in this meeting and they have all the different, I guess what you call them, admissions officers, have their presentation of ideas of what they think Ramsey should be accepting.
Like a pitch. Like this is how we're going to sell our school to these the new incoming class. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And for some reason, when they do their pitch, Sally is up there sort of presenting it, pointing to things there and miming. It's very weird.
It's great because Anthony Edwards gets up and he does his pitch and his presentation. It's like an image it's like a cartoon kind of somebody with question marks and exclamation points above their head and they're panicking. And I don't know, it says something like, don't worry about your scores or something like that. Or, and so she's pointing at things as he says them. But later the snob guy gets up with the same poster that he did not create and has nothing to do with his vision. And he's like, here's what mine would say. We want the best. And she's like trying to point to things on this poster that aren't there.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her performance. She should have been top billed, I think.
Oh, she was pretty dynamic, I'll say that.
So there's also an admissions officer.
Flutter, that's his name.
Flutter? Okay. So he's like a nerdy guy who, I guess there was a prank once where he admitted a pig into the college. So now the evil guy, the bad guy admissions officer must just put stuffed pigs and little
everywhere,
toys,
all over
toys that walk
office.
around and oink all over his office, and he's still upset about it.
Yeah.
We also get Brian Doyle Murray in a weird cameo as the football coach.
Yeah.
Where he runs up to the admissions people and he's like, you gotta give me some football players. I want some people to play football. And he hands them like all these newspaper clippings about this great football player.
Uh-huh.
And we are spending a lot of time with these people. Like, we're spending so much time with them until we get back to a big college recruiting session fair, let's say.
Well, before we get the recruiting the fair, we get a little insight into Jessica's home life, right? And because
yes.
right before, because she's going to the fair, but before she goes to the fair, she's trying to convince her parents that she should maybe check out Ramsey. She really likes that school. They're Michigan State people. We get sort of she's eating ham and a pineapple, first of all, just like sliced ham inside of a pineapple. And then it's this funny
Makes
little
sense to me.
She talks about her sisters, because she's got, I guess, 3 other sisters that went to Michigan State, and they also love ham and a pineapple. And there's pictures of them all over the house. It's very goofy, right?
Yes.
The dad has a great line, Jessica's dad. He said, there's big changes coming with student loans, like they want to get paid back. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, maybe because I'll be paying my student loan forever. But anyway, then once she convinces her parents that they should go to the college fair to check out Ramsey, then we get thrown into this crazy college fair, right?
And so much of this movie also is shot through like these weird fisheye lenses where people's faces are right up in the camera and everything's weird and abstract and distorted, but not all the time and not to the degree where I feel like it's a dream sequence. It's just stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So Marlon and his stoner friend are there. Lara Flynn Boyle is there. And they're all just sort of these 2 doofuses are like getting chased around, screamed at by Army recruiting officers.
Yeah. Roped in by the Texas University. What was that? I don't know.
Yes.
Did you get screamed at by the...
I do remember the Army recruiting guys at
high
high
school. They were a bit intense.
They would kind of camp out. Like, they were always there. Like, when you would go into the lunchroom, like, you'd all sort of have to funnel in and you'd have to walk by their little table there.
I remember them calling me at
really?
home. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh.
Because at the time, you had a home phone, and so I remember... Sure. I do remember them camping out in front of
and your mom was like, Jamie, there's a boy on the phone for you.
Pretty much. I told them at the time that I was a delicate flower and that the Army was going to be too hard for me.
Okay.
So
did they buy that?
I think they just probably thought I was, they left me alone. I said I was a delicate flower and the Army was not my jam. I don't think
you did use the phrase delicate flower, so they probably knew that it wasn't for you.
Yeah, not for me. No. But anyway.
Sir, she told me it wasn't her jam.
Whatever that.
I also like how Curtis Armstrong makes a cameo as a religious university recruiter.
Oh, yeah.
So it was fun. Like, these were like better movies we got a glimpse of.
There were moments. There were moments where there was a robot that came out in this movie too for the one of the colleges had. Oh, because they talk about the Asian factor that you make.
Yeah, what was that?
Like being smart and going to the robot school. I don't know.
Like 6 Chinese kids walk by, all dressed the same.
Yeah,
and I do like how they make fun of him though.
Yeah.
They're like, rumor has it you'll be flipping burgers. And I'm like, rumor has? What's the rumor in this school?
Well, then he's like, did they post my test scores somewhere?
So the whole deal, all that this comes to is Lara Flynn Boyle has a great conversation with Anthony Edwards about going to Ramsey. Right after this, Marlon goes up to Anthony Edwards and just gushes about how great this girl is.
Oh,
who he just talked to, and how he wants to go to school for her. And Anthony Edwards kind of feels, not feels bad for him, but it's like, all right, well, this kid's somewhat personable.
Well, part of his thing is accepting all kinds of people into Ramsey. So this kind of feeds into his pitch of, let's open up our
And this movie also took a weird turn because when Marlon's talking with Anthony Edwards and he's like, I'm just, chasing a girl. There's nothing wrong with chasing a girl. And the whole time Anthony Edwards is looking like across the gym at the blonde recruiting girl. And I'm like, is this going to be about Anthony Edwards finally professing his love for this woman that he's been working with? No, instantly next scene we see that they're sleeping together.
Yeah, they're going to bed together. Although that's weird. Where are they? Are they in a hotel when Anthony Edwards breaks the bed and then watches a little bit of a Shirley Temple movie or something?
Oh, that was weird. Let's wait till we get there because I have a lot of questions about that. Because, he says some weird things that I was like, clearly, they dumped this movie in later because his comments have nothing to do with this.
Oh, we do meet Marvin's family. Marlon, his dad, his stepmom, and his little brother.
So his stepmom is like his age?
Yeah, she's like in her,
She's very young. And she's the exchange student from Better Off Dead.
Oh, right. Yeah,
so for some reason, Savage Steve couldn't get the band all back together.
No, not everyone wanted to play.
Yeah, he got Curtis Armstrong for like an afternoon, I guess.
What year was this? You didn't say.
89.
89. Yeah. That's so why. Cusack was over it.
Yeah, Cusack was over it.
Yeah.
Savage Steve, he couldn't get into the 90s.
Yeah.
But I like to think that he saw what was happening with kids' TV. And that how
he was like,
there was like a window open for these kind of goofy shows. Like this stuff translates really well to a show made for like 14, 15-year-old kids.
Totally agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, anyway, his dad and his stepmom sort of want him out of the house. They're really worried because he's not going to get into Ramsey. They're like, listen, they only accept smart people. Does this mean he's not moving out? Does this mean he's staying here?
Yeah.
His stepmother seems very upset. Yeah, his home life doesn't seem great.
No.
Yeah, the
seems
dad.
A little sad. They're over
the dad with the new wife, the new kid. There's like a tiny
It is
child.
funny, though, when he swings that little kid around. He does it a couple of times. He does it another time for his video. He does it in the beginning when he sees the kid, again, I think he swings him. And then he does it later on when he makes his video for school or for Ramsey.
So at this point, the movie again tries to save itself.
Oh, and I like it. I fall in. But
I was pretty excited because suddenly SNL alum Nora Dunn and Phil Hartman show up.
Yeah, and they are like playing two SNL characters essentially.
That's pretty much what's going on. Yes, they're these people, and I remember. I think I remember people doing this in high school too, where people would come in and they would talk about the test. They would talk about
prep.
the SATs. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, was that what it is? Prep, SAT prep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was a thing.
It's when you talk about it before it happens, almost like you're preparing them for the test by training them in a sense.
But I don't know what it's called. I don't know. Something. I think this happened. Apparently they didn't prepare me well enough.
Clearly.
I had to take it a second time.
You suicider.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I was like, oh no, I only applied to one place. Those SAT scores might be really bad. Yeah, so they're giving them hints, like, just guess on the test. If you don't know the answer, just guess. That's okay.
Yeah, and you have to fill out every answer, not leave any blank.
And he can't even do this right. Like, he can't even guess.
He has reelings. We have another one of those two guys, A and B, come back.
Yeah.
This time they're on a boat.
Boat's filling with water or something. They're trying to bail it. I don't even know. Yeah, they just end up sinking because he can't make a decision. And I don't understand, why is it just A and B? They couldn't get, like, two more actors? Because
I think it's like one of those questions. If student A goes to blah,
I thought
blah,
he was trying to decide
between
circle.
No, then he'd need all the way up to D, possibly even E, depending on the question.
Oh, okay.
All of the above. Hated those. All of the above, none of the above.
I do remember when somebody came in, whoever those people are that come in and talk to you about tests. When they came in and they said, like, if you see a question and the answer is all of the above, and you don't see that all the time, that's probably the answer to that question.
It's a good safe bet to go with that.
I remember sitting there going, oh, yeah, that sounds so rational. That makes perfect sense. Phil Hartman isn't on screen for 3 minutes, and now we're in Detroit, Jamie.
Oh, right.
We are magically whisked away to Detroit, and we're in another movie.
Oh, that's right. This is when we meet.
So we meet. So now it's Anthony Edwards' girlfriend. So she's there to recruit this big football star who's highly recruited by a bunch of different schools.
Yep.
He is also the student in summer school who went to the bathroom.
Yes, and never came back till the end. Yep. He's got an obnoxious girlfriend, and I thought it was his dad, but it's his coach that's with him.
Yeah, I thought the coach was his dad, and I thought that woman was his mom. I thought that was his mom
I think it's his girlfriend, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So she's trying to recruit this guy, and she's not offering them any money or cars or whatever she says. She just offers a great education.
Mm-hmm. At Ramsey, that's all she's got for him. And the scholarship for that education.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she might, maybe she thinks this trip wasn't worth it, but she does notice a girl studying.
At the library, yeah.
Studying at this library, actually using the library for what it's meant to be used for.
Right.
So, without knowing who this girl is, just seeing her studying, she goes up and just sort of talks to her a little bit about Ramsey. And would she be interested in going to college? And the girl doesn't really show much interest, but she's got to go to work.
She's a spud technician. I like how she puts it that way. She's basically a fry girl at McDonald's.
Yes. Yeah. And she has to go to work, and then we have a decent amount of time in this movie where it takes place in a McDonald's.
Yeah.
So, she's just telling her that, you could come to school, you could get your education. The girl's mom's there. The girl's mom is saying no, she needs to go out. She needs to work, and maybe she can go to school at night.
Yeah.
Fair. Everybody has fair points because I don't know how much Ramsey costs.
You don't know the price of Ramsey.
But they're in inner city Detroit. And I don't want to make assumptions, but I don't know how much money this girl has.
She's working at Mickey D's. She's saving every buck she can.
Right.
Yeah.
That's admirable, though. Now we go to the hotel.
Oh, yes.
And Anthony Edwards is undressing while watching an old black and white movie where a small girl undresses.
It's creepy.
And at this point in this movie where this very young girl, 5 years old, is taking her clothes off.
It's like Shirley Temple. Yep. Yeah, it's like,
Anthony Edwards goes, I love this part. And then, in this movie, the girl is then knocked over by a goat.
Super weird.
It's very weird.
He goes to lay in bed, and the bed detaches from the wall. It's really weird.
It's like the mattress not detaches from the headboard, but slides away from the headboard enough where his entire body easily falls behind it.
It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. And then she comes out, and we just assume that, it's a good time had by all. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're practically married. I think, I don't understand really what this relationship is about. I mean, or what it has to do with this movie. They don't need to be married. They don't need to be married or dating for her at the end to be like, you really should go for that promotion.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She could just be a colleague. And it would be more satisfying then if in the end they do get together.
Well, but that's not how it's played out here. So, yeah, don't expect satisfaction.
Nope. So let's go to Ramsey for their open house. So I guess it's a 2-day open house. Because at one point somebody says to Lara Flynn Boyle, they're like, so I heard you had a really bad day yesterday. And she's wearing the same outfit she was the day before.
Oh, what about... Well, that's later when she can't decide whether she should wear her Reeboks or not.
Yeah. I was like, your Reeboks? For your college interview? You're not sure if you should wear your Reeboks.
Are they going to make you run on the track?
Yeah,
What's
the
happening?
answer to that is whatever other shoe you said, that's what you should wear. Not your white, high-top Jerry Seinfeld Reeboks. So, Ramsey's college bar looks pretty fun. That looked kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun, too, that they had a little party for the incoming or possible potentials in this little bar, right?
Yeah.
Goofy and
Marlon's. Oh yeah, Brian Doyle Murray and
Kip. Glad that you know.
Yeah, Kip, Anthony Edwards are wearing party hats on their faces like the birds. For no reason.
But they're not drunk or anything. It's not like they're drinking. Even again, this is a party, but it's not like people are.
They are
sloppy.
Drinking.
Well,
I don't think they're hammered. I mean, maybe they are. None of the kids are drinking, but all of the recruitment officers are drinking.
They're getting it. They're okay.
Yeah, because the blonde woman, she's sitting down with the girl from Detroit, and she's clearly drinking. Like, she clearly has a bottle of beer, and the girl from Detroit has like a Coke.
Oh yeah, okay.
And Marlon's there with his goofy stoner friend.
Oh yeah, they road trip together,
and they sidle right up to this girl from Detroit and start talking as though all these characters know each other.
Well, did she go to school? Would they know each other?
She's from Detroit. They can drive to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I have no idea. The geography of this movie is crazy.
A bit baffling. But you're right. They kind of bookend her and start chatting her up. Doesn't he finally, is this when he gets to hang out? Yeah, Marlon gets to hang out now with Jessica.
He finally talks to Lara Flynn Boyle. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I like how she refers to him as being different. And he goes, you mean like Elephant Man different? I thought that was a pretty funny line. There's also a snobby, like a doctor's son.
That wants to go to school there. That the other one admissions officer is all about. Mm-hmm.
Right, yes. For their interviews, this is when they sit down with the college recruiters and have an interview, which again, for me, is a foreign concept. Like, I never...
Yeah, we didn't do the interview.
Didn't happen.
No. Oh, we should mention, well, I don't know that it matters, but earlier in the movie when they were back at the diner and everyone was very anxious about... Mm-hmm. College and the SATs, one of the stories that the girls tell each other is this sort of horror story about a girl who was in her college interview, and in the interview they asked her to show us. Her interview basically bombed, and they said, "Is there anything else you wanted to show us?"
Or reveal to us.
Reveal to us.
It's phrased in a very bizarre way. Yes.
And so in this story that the girls tell each other, the girl exposes herself, kind of, and is now in a mental hospital because she cracked because of the pressures of the interview and the fact that she exposed herself at the interview. So,
but it's a story that Lara Flynn Boyle tells them.
Yes.
And the smoking girl's like, did that really happen? And even Lara Flynn Boyle laughs, and she's like, no, you big dummy. It's just a joke. It's just a stupid story.
Right.
So she's sitting waiting for her interview, and she overhears, and
with her Reeboks on.
Right, with her Reeboks on. And she overhears, and not even overhears, but the snobby recruitment officer is literally standing in front of her, looking at her, talking to this other guy, and he refers to her as sort of, oh, those girls, they were a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then this again is when we get like weird fantasy, but then shifting to reality because she looks over and all the girls are wearing her goofy plaid blazer. But I guess they weren't. But then at one point, two girls sit next to her that are wearing it.
Oh, the twins that later we see again.
Those twins. These two monotone twins sit down next to her and start talking about like, I'm the class vice president, because they're all like Lara Flynn Boyle. She's not feeling very confident, so she's talking to this girl.
She's lost her stride a bit.
Yeah. She's like, I have a 4.0. I have a 4.0 also. And they're all just talking about like their extracurriculars. And then she turns around and the girl's sister's sitting there, but she talks monotone and she's the class president and her sister's the vice president. She freaks out. She goes in the back and she sits down next to a girl who was wearing headgear, like literal headgear.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I guess.
Like retainer.
Yeah, like this freak won't be smart.
She's on the cover of Time magazine.
That again looks like it's from 1968. And the girl she's sitting next to is on the cover of Time. And I was like, is this a joke? Like, is this really happening? Is it a fantasy?
I feel like it is. I feel like this is all part of like when he has the moments of, you know, A and B coming out. This is her moment, because before that, she even says to Marlon when she's with him that she's confident about her interview. She feels good about it. But now here she is. She overhears that she's just a regular girl. She gets in her own head, which is then what we see, how she sees all these different girls that look just like her and all that. Then she also overhears that she's getting interviewed by Flutter, the guy.
Right, but the pig guy. The guy who admitted a pig to the school and constantly has pig toys in his office.
And it's weird because he's more obsessed with all, like, there's literally, as she's getting interviewed, there's a pig kind of inching its way out of his closet. He's just focused on that. She sits down, I think, on a pig. Like, he also, it gets it's above and beyond this whole pig thing in his office. They're everywhere.
It's crazy because he's so, and she could tell he's distracted, or not even that he's distracted. He's just not interested in what she's saying.
And that's so now she's even more nervous because she realizes that she's losing him and the interview's not going well, and she's dying 1,000 deaths, she says, which I never understood that line, dying 1,000 deaths. Like one death is enough.
Really dying. Like you're really.
But 1,000? Like.
Are you sad about the number? You're like, just stop at 50.
Well, just
50 is
I'm
excessive.
dying. I'm dying 1,000 deaths is a little, like, it's just too much, is what I'm saying. I'll just do away with that phrase. Do you say it? Do you say it ever? Or are you
I've never said that.
When you have a summer cold, are you dying 1,000 deaths? Is that what happens when you have a summer cold?
No. You know what? That's an appropriate use of that term.
Oh, wait. What happens during the interview that her watch flies off of her wrist?
Oh, I don't...
How does that...
He just catches it. He just catches it.
How does that even happen? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess she's very animated in that moment. And it is, like, at the end of this interview, because he's done with her, she's not saying anything worthwhile anymore.
No.
He takes a stuffed pig, and it's in his jacket, like it's under his arm in his jacket, and he's, like, playing with it or trying to push it away. And this is when he says that the interview's over, and she's like, oh, it's over. It's over. And this is when he says, unless you have something else you'd like to reveal about yourself. Yeah. And of course she stands up and rips open her shirt and then imagines herself in a mental hospital. And he doesn't see any of this, mind you. He's looking at the pig that's in his jacket.
Yeah, he's not paying her any more attention.
Right.
And then she runs. Books it out of there.
Right.
Marlon, right? Doesn't Marlon kind of talk her down and go, what's going on? I thought you had a good thing going on. I thought you felt confident about your interview. And she's just like, she doesn't want to be bothered. I like, is it him that makes he compares college to like protection relocation for teenagers? That's a great analogy.
Yep. College is like federal relocation program for teenagers. Uh-huh. And it really is. True. Like, if you go away to college, it really is. I mean, if you're, unless you're one of those people that go to the same college as a lot of people in your high school, no. Oh, yeah. You're just that. Your friends aren't there. Your family isn't there. Your old classmates aren't there. He's right on when he says that.
Yeah.
And we just talked very quickly, though. Before Marlon goes out to talk to her, we get another great scene with the receptionist where she is on the phone saying, all right, okay, sounds good. I'll see you later tonight. And then she kisses into the phone, hangs up, and then kisses her hand and touches a picture of her dog that she has on her desk. And it's like a big 8x10 of this dog, or 11x14 of this dog. And I can only assume she was talking to the dog on the phone. I loved it. I loved that scene. Oh, also, Marlon skips his interview to chase
her. After Jessica.
Yes, to chase after her and to help her.
And then he goes right to Anthony Edwards, to Kip. When she is like, no, I messed it up so bad, I don't want to talk about it, I can't even relive it. Mm-hmm. And he says something, I think even like, well, what'd you do? Like, take off your shirt? And she's like, stop, I don't even want to talk about it. So he goes right back to Kip and is like, you have to help. Jessica messed up somehow, and you need to help make it right if you can. So she does go to talk to Kip.
Yes.
But it's the conversation is...
This is the only other part, and I really thought we were on a roll because I just watched that lady talk to her dog on the phone, and what Anthony Edwards says, I really thought this was funny. When he says, listen, I understand. I wrote it down, too, because it was so great. He was like, you opened yourself up to a total stranger. You think that little things are a big deal. And he's like, but don't worry about it. He thinks that you're a very well-rounded girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is freaking out. Like, she's sweating. She's agitated through all of
this. Well, now she thinks, like, he's playing with her, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, boy, this rotten guy. And now she runs out, and she suicided, too, because this was the only school she wanted to apply to, was this Ramsey. And now she's bombed the interview, and basically she thinks the admissions is laughing at her, and she's just done. She's just going to go home. This was not a good visit. I guess we should. No,
not at all. Marlon is told while he's there for this visit, he's told by Anthony Edwards that he needs to he needs to bulk up his resume.
Yeah.
A little bit. So he turns to Nora Dunn and Phil Hartman for
a professional
help.
Team. Yeah.
And I really love how they just say this, how they're like, listen, you pay us, we will build you up as a great student. Like that, literally, they come out and say that, which is kind of a lie because they still make him do this stuff. Like, they're like, do extracurriculars.
When he does the wrestling?
Right. Yeah, like, what jobs do you have? And he's like, well, I babysit for my adoptive or my, stepbrother. Yeah. And they're like, somebody once wrestled and she got a scholarship. So he does all this nonsense. Like, he sets up, like, his own little babysitter's club thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
he spins kids around.
He wrestles, not their school. He wrestles in what looks like a backyard glow thing. Like, because this...
It is one. That lady is a glow wrestler.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah.
You once told me you watched Glow, and you really enjoyed Glow as a kid, so I didn't know if you recognized her.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I forget her name, but yeah, she was, Yeah,
so he just does a weird... He does these two things, literally these two things, and then it is a montage.
Oh, he juggles. He juggles,
Oh, he juggles, too. And then it is a montage about writing essays where we see all of these characters that we've seen. We see the football player. We see the girl from Detroit who works at McDonald's. We see Marlon. We see Lara Flynn Boyle. And everybody's just sort of struggling to write an essay.
They're all reading a book, too, how to write a good essay.
Right. They're all reading the same book.
Yes. But I guess that's part of it. Like, I don't remember writing the essay, but I guess I did, too. We all did.
Yes, you did. Your guidance counselor didn't insult you, right? Because, first of all, I don't remember writing the essay, and I would have no knowledge of it if that had not happened.
If that did, see? So there's your memory. He, though, because writing is not his strong suit, that's when he decides he's gonna make a video of, right?
Does he? I thought that was like a big reveal at the end of this.
Oh.
I thought it was a big, like, I didn't know he was making a video until, well, we do see him filming himself juggling, but I didn't understand why. And I thought at the end, when Anthony Edwards puts his video in, I thought that was the big reveal. I didn't, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they mentioned it, or he mentioned it at some point. Anyway. It doesn't matter. Jessica admits that she never applied to Ramsey.
Yeah, so she didn't do the essay even.
She breaks down. She starts crying. Marlon convinces her to come with him physically to Ramsey to submit the application because they have until like midnight.
They're going to do it that day. And she has her word processor on her lap.
Man,
in the
I
computer.
think I had that word processor.
Isn't it great little memory there? Because even when it has to print out and everything, and she's got to,
So she writes her essay on the drive. There's a weird, fun little thing where they're behind trucks and a slow cop.
Yeah.
And then they're...
I think that's to show that he's got some street smarts or some, like, people
He's
smarts.
got what Ramsey's looking for.
Yes.
Because they're trying to calculate the whole time, like, how fast do I have to drive to get there? And she does the calculations, and she tells him. But then they get stuck behind these big trucks and a police officer, and some douche in a Lamborghini is behind them.
Real douchey guy in a Lamborghini. Like, what is the outfit he wears when he gets out of the Lamborghini?
I don't know. So Marlon decides that he's going to slow down, like excessively slow down, so that the Lamborghini guy passes everybody, gets pulled over by the cop, and then he is able to pass the trucks and then move on.
How about when they thumbs up the officer when they do pass him, and Lara Flynn Boyle and him are like, yeah. And that guy, the douchebag, gets a ticket, and they get to hand deliver the application. They sneak into the admissions office. She puts the application in there, and then home they drive, and he gets a smooch from her, right? This is when we realize,
Yes, when they get back.
This could be love, right? Then we have the scene where everyone is at school and calling home on their payphones.
Yep.
That poor girl is just a big pile of tears because she's just got rejected from like dozens of schools.
7 schools. Man.
So sad.
And this is where in my notes I wrote, I never knew what suiciding was, but I guess that's what I did.
You did.
Jessica's accepted. No doubt about it there. You know.
Yeah.
4.0. I assume her resume was, or her.
We forget to mention, not that it, again, she had spent a summer in Italy. That's kind of why she wanted to go to Ramsey.
Yes.
She was, she mentions that in her interview too, that she has, before it goes off the rails, was the time she spent in Italy. And the things she learned about, I don't know, painting or something.
I don't know. I learned painting something. No wonder that guy wasn't interested in what she had to say. So I was confused about this too, because people are getting acceptance letters. We flash back to Ramsey, and they are still, these recruiting officers are still in. They're still fighting about who is going to be accepted, and who is going to be on the wait list. We do find out that the snobby guy, the snobby kid, he's on the wait list, and his dad comes in with a big cardboard box. I love it. And he's like, "Should we put this with the others? I'm starting a fire."
Because he's just been waitlisted left and right. But we also find out there's an argument that happens because Vera, who is the girl that works at McDonald's, has also been waitlisted, much to the chagrin of Anthony Edwards' girlfriend.
Right. Yes.
Who argued for her to get in, right? But then in the end, she gets it.
She gets it. I don't know. This is a whirlwind of nonsense, because characters that nobody cares about, monotone twins, we get to watch them. Yeah. We get to watch one get accepted and one not. But in the acceptance letter, it's like, we love how you play the oboe or whatever. And she's like, I play the I play the flute. You play the oboe.
Yeah.
Oh no. Like, who are these people? Why, do we care? Oh, we get a fun little scene where the mailman arrives with tiny dogs attached to his pant legs.
Oh, yeah. What's that guy? Who is that guy?
He's in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Oh, I can't think of his name, but yes.
Yeah, he comes with the, and I love it because he's like, I can't read it. Would you read it for me? He's like, I would love to.
And he reads it and he's like, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Marlon says something like, is it Ramsey? No, it's Ed McMahon. You may have already won. So, again, like, I don't understand what's going on, because also at this point, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the snobby guy accidentally admits an elephant into Ramsey.
Oh, yeah,
but they make a big deal about it. It's so confusing. It's this tiny baby, adorable little elephant that's in their office. Anthony Edwards shows his girlfriend Marlon's tape. And his tape, instead of an essay, he decided to show a tape or send a tape. Right. And his tape is pretty good. Like, I kind of like the idea of, like, I didn't know what to write. And I tried all this crazy stuff to get into college, and it shows him babysitting, and it shows him juggling fire, which starts a fire behind him. Yeah. And then he's wrestling, and then his family is like basically like, please take him off our hands. We really don't want him here anymore. It's a pretty good video. But for some reason, the elephant thing, when the old woman who's in charge of, I don't know, the school, I don't know what her deal is.
Oh, yeah, she comes in at a certain point, and they said,
When she walks in, this elephant thing convinces her to admit Marlon. Oh, because also Anthony Edwards threatens to quit, which comes to nothing. Who cares?
But I guess it also, you should note that whoever she is, she's become maybe the president of the university. I don't know. And Anthony Edwards and the snobby guy, admissions guy, are both, I guess, up for the role of Dean of Admissions.
Right, Dean of Admissions, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Anthony Edwards quitting means that snobby guy, he's going to get it.
Right.
Definitely. Jamie, you were a little bit wrong because the girl from Detroit, the McDonald's girl, she does get accepted because remember everybody in McDonald's, everybody that's just eating.
Yeah, she gets a full applause because she announced it. Yeah, because her mom comes in, I think, with the letter and opens it, and then she
maybe she was waitlisted earlier. I don't know.
I don't know how she gets out of waitlisted. Okay. There is a scene where they put her, the girl. Because the admissions girl that was kind of rallying for her.
It's a whole thing like, we need to fill our minority quota, but I don't know if she's the right applicant. Yes, okay.
Just the doctor's kid stays on the wait list because even the athlete gets accepted, which later is funny when he's accepted and he's like, I love the thank you, but I really want to focus on my academics, and he puts on glasses.
Yep, and he puts on nerd glasses and tells his girlfriend to shut up.
Yep, and Murray's all disappointed because he thought he had a good football player on his hands. Yep. But nay, he's an intellectual.
And as if we cared about Marlon's friend...
Oliver, I think, is his name.
Oh, wow. Okay. So at one point, he did talk about how they should be hanging out with the women on game shows. Yeah. The models who display, the prizes for whatever reason. Bob Eubanks pulls up with a couple of ladies, and they just...
And they have they have like a refrigerator and all these game show prizes.
Yes. Again, like a gag that in a different movie would really work. But it seems so out of place. And in a movie that seems, for as goofy as it is occasionally, it seems somewhat grounded in reality. This comes out of nowhere.
It's goofy. Well, it's just to show where he's off to next, and dreams do come true. Because he literally gets his ride.
I do love how he had his backpack packed as though he was going
to start backpacking and hitchhiking. Yeah, no, that was his plan, was just to hitchhike to wherever and experience life, not go to college. And life does come and get him. And then...
life comes and gets him.
Yep.
Anthony Edwards gets his promotion. Yippee. Yep. Marlon blows up his AB fantasy figures in the mailbox. They're suddenly sitting on dynamite and stuff. And he's like, I don't have to worry about you anymore because I'm going to college, which I guess means he's not taking any more tests. What? So they explode. He's happy. He and Jessica are now together, I assume forever.
Yeah, they're in it to win it. He even says, we've got this for the next 4 years, and she's kind of looking forward to it.
She should be scared. She should be a little frightened.
Well,
maybe she's banking on him failing out this first semester.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's it. That's the end. That's how I got into college.
That's a wrap on how I got into college.
This is what our listeners voted on. Voted for.
Yeah, this was a vote.
Now, it was a tight vote, but this is what won. So what did you think? What do you think?
I think when we started talking about it, if casting was a little different, like if Cusack had the role of Marlon, I think we would have had a different, more enjoyable movie. And I think that it had moments of fun and humor, and I definitely liked the little here and there's of it, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I enjoyed. I will say that it wasn't a movie like that. I couldn't wait for it to be over. I was like, oh God, what's happening now? It was fun to watch, but I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't say myself. And but it was. I guess it was fun to watch, but it wasn't like I like, you know how we said all the movies of the past year that we've kind of put listeners to, or would say, I wouldn't put this on that list. At least I don't think so.
No, I agree 100%.
Do you agree?
Yeah, okay. I lent this movie to one of our listeners to watch in preparation.
Oh.
Sort of, I said, it's a movie. Like, it's not offensive.
No.
In that it's so bad you're going to hate it. You're probably not going to enjoy it. It's just
not so draggy or so like.
Oh, it's like a breezy 1 hour 25.
Because there's a lot of different actions, and it's like, it's fun. There's moments of fun and stuff, but overall it just wasn't my bag.
No.
What do you recommend from it? Do you have a recommendation?
Oh, I have a recommendation, and I have a recommendation which is something that I kind of messed up, and I messed up in the most wonderful way, and now I kind of regret it. One thing that you and I have talked about is, due to what we're doing with this podcast, we try and avoid watching movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
So I started to watch this movie on Amazon Prime. I could have sworn it was in the 70s, because it feels 70s, but no.
But some of those early 80s feel 70s.
It's early 80s. But I was like halfway through it when I learned it was in the 80s, and I couldn't stop watching it. So if you want to see a horror movie that you would probably love, Jamie.
All right.
There's a movie. It's called Final Exam. And it's, it's a college movie, so it ties in. So this movie is insane, because at the very beginning, 2 people are killed, whatever. Then, not a person in the movie is killed until like the 58-minute mark.
Oh.
And for a while, I was just like, is this the same movie? It is. It's like a goofy comedy. Like, they spent so much time with these characters, and everything they're doing is insane and funny, and I liked them, and I enjoyed it. And then, like, the last 20 minutes is just a big murder fest, but that wasn't great. But I've never seen a movie that is a slasher movie that just takes
a total turn
just wanders around and is like, I don't know, let's see what these goofy jocks are going to do tonight. Like, it was so strange, and I loved it. And then I looked it up, and like, it's got horrible reviews. Everybody hated it, and I don't understand why.
Oh.
So people should watch Final Exam.
Final Exam is what it's called. Okay, and it's from the 80s, so maybe we'll watch it at some point.
It's like 80 or 81, and I had a blast watching it.
All right. I like it.
What about you?
All right, my recommendation, you got to go with me there, okay? You got to follow my lead on this, because it's not how I got into college. It's once I was in college, what I learned, okay? And that's hence the movie recommendation. So once I was in college in my freshman year, one of the first like movies, you know how you like, it's kind of something you do, invite a girl to your dorm room to watch a movie with you, right?
Sure.
So one of the first movies I got to watch with this, I guess I was into this guy at the time, but here's what happened so the movie is Raging Bull.
That's a bizarre movie to bring a girl up to your room to watch, but okay.
Oh, exactly. So I watched this whole movie in this dude's room, and it's a great movie. I had never seen it before. It's amazing. And I remember thinking while I was watching, this movie is amazing. It's also very long. And I also remember thinking I had a lot of time to think about my thoughts on, and again, I was a freshman. This whole college thing was new to me. Even like, not to sound prude, but kind of hanging out with boys in their bedrooms was new to me. I was, wasn't that kind of girl, I guess you could say, in high school.
You were a delicate flower.
I was, indeed. So I remember in my mind, like, coming to certain conclusions, like thinking, Like, I'm never going to have, in this Raging Bull night, I'm like, well, I don't think college is about serious relationships. I'm never going to have a serious relationship in college because this is what this is. And I had all these, like, lists of, like, what college was, and some of it I think I followed through on, some of them I didn't, what college was going to be for me in that night. I also decided, because the guy was an RA, I decided I'm going to be an RA. If this jabroni can do it, I can definitely do it. So I made certain, like, college decisions while watching Raging Bull, and it's, again, not how I got into college, but what I did once I was in college, in my freshman year.
You made a lot of decisions, life decisions, I guess, in that dude's
not really
room.
life, but again,
decisions for the next few years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
There were certain things that became clear to me, and I don't know if it was
the clarity of Robert De Niro getting pummeled in a boxing ring.
The movie is great, so I recommend it nonetheless. And maybe in that movie,
wow. Did I ever tell you about the time that your friend and mine, I can't think of his name. Oh, Chris Hammer. I don't know if we were freshmen or sophomores or whatever, and he came up to me and he's like, this girl invited me to her room. I want to go to her room, but I don't want anything to happen. Can you come with me? And I did it. And the look of just disappointment on this girl's
on her face. She's
when
like,
she opened the door was just, crazy. And then I just sat there the whole time like, what am I doing here? What is going on right now?
What is going on?
Should
Were you
I
like
just leave? Is there like a sign that he could give me if I should leave? No.
Yeah, like what if he's more
stayed the whole time? Then we just left.
Just hung out. Did you guys watch a movie?
It was terrible. No. I don't even know what we did.
I would have recommended
I just blocked
Raging
it out
Bull
because it was so uncomfortable. All right. Well, before we talk about the movie that we are going to do next, I do want to give people just a little taste of what they're in for if they stick with us for another year. Because, Jamie, we are going to do another camp movie. It was a little tough. It's getting tougher to find camp movies, but I think we want to do one every year. Yeah. You know, we did the space camp and we did the sleepaway camp. And I think last year, we counted Dirty Dancing as a camp movie. Fine, it counts.
Sure.
But we're certainly going to do another camp movie. My birthday pick may or may not be a movie with Steve Guttenberg in it.
Oh, the Goot. Gotta get the Goot.
We're going to do horror, as we always do in October. And we're going to allow people to choose the movies that we do, but they are going to be themed this time. We are doing, I think last year we talked about, and I don't know if we talked to people that listened to it, or this was just between us, that we are going to start something called Sly's Giving.
Oh, so good.
Where whatever Friday before Thanksgiving, we are going to watch a Sylvester Stallone movie.
Because it's the way it should be.
And the one we have slated for this year, I want it to be Sly's Giving right now so I can watch this movie. In our other theme month, we talked about how we're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa with Mr. Tony Danza.
Kwanzaa Danza. So gotta love it.
And I don't know, a few other things here. We're going to do another John Carpenter movie I know we didn't like. I know we weren't a fan of Escape from New York, but we're going to do what I think is John Carpenter's best movie. Not Halloween, because that was in the 70s. We're going to do that. And we have our 100th episode this year.
100? Can you imagine?
100th episode.
That's 100 movies.
People would know, if you are a true fan, because we mentioned it once or twice, what movie we're going to do for our 100th. And I think, in a weird way, it has a bit of a relationship to the movie we just watched. A lot of this movie took place in a McDonald's. So, and also we're going to see Tom Hanks again, too. So we have so much coming up in our next year. Please, please, please. A couple things you could do very quickly to help us out. Give us a rating and a review on iTunes.
We'd love
you can do it right on your phone. It's that easy. Tell somebody about the show. If you know somebody who likes movies or 80s movies or just 80s or likes podcasts, whatever, tell them to check out the show. And in 2 weeks, Jamie, we were gonna do, you might think you know what movie we're doing. I changed it. Sorry. And I didn't tell you. I took the movie we were going to do and I put it late in the summer as a return to school movie.
Okay.
Because we were going to do a school movie for the end of school, but this movie that we just watched kind of counts as one. So we're just going to do a movie that was released on June 1st, which is when our next episode comes out. And it is a movie that is a rock and roll fable. That's what it's billed as. Wow. And it's called Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire.
So it's going to be pretty fun, I think.
Right.
So everybody go out, watch Streets of Fire. We're going to talk about it 2 weeks from now. And thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
We thank you.
Much.
We do.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We're glad do this.
We wouldn't do this. I was just going to say, this could be done in a whole different format. You know, I wouldn't have to mic myself. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have to pull up GarageBand. Wouldn't have to be quite as sober. No. No, I didn't mean that.
So what format would you say this would be done in if we weren't doing it in this format? Would we just have like bullhorns out on the street corner?
Yeah. No, we wouldn't have to record ourselves. We could just have it. We could still watch movies and talk about it to each other privately in a conversation. But instead, we decided to share these conversations with people who either feel the same way that we do, can totally agree, or completely disagree, or find humor in what we see or what we don't see, or the movies, or just share the whole experience with us. It's a wonderful thing. Yeah. And I am really grateful.
Oh, and you're right. And nobody needs to agree with what we're saying. You guys voted on this movie that neither of us thought was very good. That doesn't mean...
And maybe that's why you wanted us to see it. Oh. Maybe you needed us to see this piece of 80s. Because I do take that as recommendations, too. Like you said when we were talking about our best of sort of list. It's always nice when we both get a new... I hadn't seen this movie before. Had you?
No.
I think that's why I love a recommendation. Because even whether it's a movie someone recommended because they loved it or not, it's a movie that they recommended because they had seen.
Right.
And me not seeing it, I love getting the exposure to it. Did I love the movie? No, but...
I'm happy I saw it. I'm happy that I can now say I've seen Savage Steve's entire filmography.
Exactly.
And the one thing that I am trying to do when I decide on these movies that we're going to cover is I'm trying to put in more movies that I know that I haven't seen, so I'm assuming you haven't seen. Which brings me to the fact that we were trying to do that for the Patreon shows, but we're not going to do it for the July one. We already know what we're doing July 1st. It's not a brand new movie to either of us. And just to sort of give people a preview, we listened to John Candy voice a horse in a movie. But we haven't seen him yet. But we are going to see the full Candy in our... patrons only episode that will come out on July 1st. So check that out.
Look forward to it.
All right, everybody, we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Have a great time.
See you then, or listen to you then, or
we don't listen to them.
So yeah, be with you then.
Oh, I like that.
It's
nice. Okay. I like to feel that we're like in people's lives, in their living rooms, in their cars, be they working out,
in their earbuds,
echoing throughout.
Bummer.
I mean, he seems like the type that, like, I don't know, eats tree bark and is just like good for the season. I don't know.
I ate some tree bark of good for the season. For the season.
I don't know.